That's Sutton Def. I'm simply AS10. And this is a Victory Monday Purple Rain podcast. Sorry, I'm just giving a round of applause for Todd Monken right now because the game he called yesterday, that first drive, we actually scored a touchdown on our first drive. I know. We actually put up over 20 points for 2 consecutive games. I know. And the defense held a Bengals offense to under 20 points. Yes, under 20. The punt return, they had 17 offensive points. We'll go. I'm sorry. I'm just over the moon right now. Thank you for coming through. Like I said, a Victory Monday edition of the Purple Rain podcast. Yes, it's almost like when you have your starting quarterback at MVP, Lamar Jackson. Things kind of turn out a little different when you play the Bengals. All right? That's all I got to say.
Talk about it.
Come on now. But welcome back to episode 193 of the Purple Rain podcast, the Calais Campbell edition. Dewan Edwards, Lawrence Guy, Corey Redding, Chris Wormley, D'Angelo Tyson episode of the Purple Rain podcast. You can follow us on Instagram at the Purple Rain podcast. Follow this guy on Instagram, on Twitter, at Sutton Def. No think pieces yet, thankfully. None have come out yet about the Ravens. Let's keep it that way. You can follow me on Instagram at simplyas10.prod and on Twitter at simplyas10. And most importantly, our sponsor, Manscaped. 20% off your whole order and free shipping. Whenever you want to go on there and get something good, you know, if you want to get a little shave up here, a little down there, some body deodorant, a little bag, some shirts, some undergarments. Hey, all up to you. 20% off your whole order using code PRP.
Yeah, you're right about that.
I'm sorry. I'm ecstatic. I don't know if you can tell.
No, me too. I just want to add this little piece on top of the Manscaped thing. It's getting cold outside. It's starting to get a little bit chillier. And you know what chilly weather means? It means it's officially the gift-giving season. And you know what that means? You can go on manscaped.com, get your loved one a gift, get yourself a gift, right? I mean, we always want to gift ourselves stuff. Love yourself, right? Go on manscaped.com, use our code PRP, get yourself 20% off and plus free international shipping, like my guy Alex said. But welcome back, nonetheless, to another installment of the Purple Rain podcast, episode 193, and this is a special one. This is a special one because it's the second victory of the season, but it really feels like the first real win. You know what I mean? I know last week was a good win, 25-9 over, you know, a good Texans defense, but you know, a rookie quarterback. They're still trying to figure things out. No, the Bengals are supposed to be the cream of the crop. And the fact that we chopped that crop the way we did and just left it there in their own stadium, that's kind of cold to me. That's cold. We're here to break it down, though. You know, we got to bring up people here in the live chat here before we get into anything, because the live Rain Gang is very close to our hearts, very, very near and dear to our hearts. Jabari Cruz Ellis in the house. What's going on, brother? Says, what's up, Purple Rain Gang? Smoking on early Bengals pack. You already know what it is. Chike says Lamar is 7-1 versus the Bengals. Victory Monday in Cincy. Absolutely. Yes. What up, Chike? Appreciate you for coming through. Cam the Baptist, a Purple Rain pioneer himself, says hashtag PRP. What's going on, brother? Appreciate you for coming through per usual. Yolanda, another one, Purple Rain Pioneer, says good evening, Rain Gang. Happy Victory Monday. We got Hayden Kelly in here. What's going on, man? Zach White in the building. We got Lisa Ann. Lisa Ann is in the house as well. We got Tanja Bowman, JD Killswitch, Raven Ron. I mean, you guys are out in full effect. We must have won or something. We must have won or something yesterday. That's what it's feeling like. But yeah, thank you guys so much for joining the episode. If you are not watching this episode live and you're part of the hashtag replay gang, first and foremost, thank you so much for checking us out. We appreciate that. If you want to, if you're enjoying the content, or if you just want to, go ahead and like the video, right? Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Helps us out a ton. Like our guy K-Dog says, that's Mod K-Dog to you. Also giving a shout out to the hashtag replay gang there. Yeah. Shout out to K-Dog, man. We appreciate you. Okay. So let's talk some football, right? Let's talk some Ravens.
Why not? We're here.
It's just, man. Okay. All right. Let's not mince any words. Let's go ahead and get into what we came here to get into. So we're going to go ahead and boot up the Purple Rain report for this week, this Victory Monday, this lovely Victory Monday. Excuse me while I switch the screens there. Brought to you by Manscaped, of course. Now listen, before we get into all of the stats and the breakdowns and our biggest takeaways and are the Ravens the best team in the AFC, I'm gonna let my guy Alex tell us a little bit about the health report coming out of yesterday's
Yes.
game.
Yeah.
So Alex, go ahead, take it away.
So, Odell was getting honestly ragdolled. It felt like they were going after him at a point. The way they
Yeah,
were tackling him, I don't want to sound like that fan, but they were going around the neck area a little too much for my liking. But he should
right.
be good. Ian Rappaport came out. They're going to monitor it. Odafe Owe was in a walking boot. I think they say it's like a sprained foot, maybe. I'm not sure if that's going to knock him out. Maybe it's precautionary. The big one for me though is Marcus Williams. I mentioned this last week. He wasn't on the IR, and that was for a reason. He's not getting surgery, which is
Yeah,
fantastic news for us. I mean, to be honest, Geno Stone looked pretty damn good out there too. We'll talk about
mm,
that.
for
Stepped
sure.
in very, very well. But yeah, Marcus Williams will be back sooner rather than later, which is fantastic news for us. And then obviously, Ronnie Stanley and Linderbaum are week to week, but knock on wood, came out relatively healthy. So I'm happy with
Yeah,
that. It feels like 2 dubs in one, because if that's the case.
right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're totally right about that. It definitely feels like two W's in one because last week we walked away with a W, but that actually felt like a loss in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But this week we got all sorts of good news on top of a win. A lot of our guys, or not a lot, but Marcus Williams, which is a huge piece to our defense, believe it or not, he is not going to be out long term, which is just that's amazing for us. That's amazing.
Mhm.
Now we do have our very first super chat donation of this episode. This one's coming from Jabari Cruz Ellis, dropping the 2 piece in the chat. Thank you so much for making it
Thank
rain
you.
here on episode
Thank you.
193 of PRP. It says our secondary and just kind of giving them their flowers. Yeah, yeah. Let's. I guess we can go ahead get into what we came here to talk about, right? So let me go ahead and pull up the stats here from said
Okay.
game yesterday, and you guys can kind of read it up there. Defense on the right, offensive stats on the left, kind of breaking down player by player. Yeah, secondary played pretty well. Who led the team in tackles? Was it Brandon Stevens?
Um, Geno Stone.
Oh, Stone.
Geno
Oh,
Stone.
let's go ahead and talk
Man.
about Geno Stone, man. Geno Stone stepping up, when Marcus Williams goes down, like we were just talking about, and for him to have that interception at such a crucial point in the game, because I was watching the game live, as were you, and as was everybody else who's probably watching this stream. It felt bad. It felt like things were going in the wrong direction when the Bengals were pushing down the field, seemingly maybe it seemed like our defense was kind of tiring out, wearing down a little bit. That just gave us all of the energy and all the life to really close that game confidently. I feel like. I wish he would have cut it upfield for a pick six, but that's another conversation for another day. But what did you think of that?
Hey, if he takes it back for a pick six, we don't get that Lamar 50-yard bomb to Zay Flowers. So I'll take it.
Also true.
I'll
Also
be
true.
honest, though. 27-24, the scoreline was really not telling the whole story. That did not feel like a 3-point game. I was not nervous once. The Ravens, in my
Yeah.
opinion, controlled the game. They bossed it. The Bengals had a short period where they were starting to gain momentum. But even then, I mean, they had the momentum, and the Ravens just ran it down their throats. It's time that Gus Edwards gets his flowers. I am so tired of him being disrespected, not getting talked about.
Yeah.
Everybody in the stadium knew what the Ravens were doing in that final drive. Third and short. We're going to run it. We're going to run it, and we're going to give it to Gus Edwards. And what does he do? Instead of getting 1 yard, he gets 4 or 5. Running behind a makeshift O-line. By the way, shout out to Sam Mustapher and Patrick McCarry. They played
Yeah.
fantastic. McCarry, in my opinion, I mean, he's honestly very cheap. I think he's like a 4-year deal, making like $5 million average when he can play literally every single position on the line. Having that guy right there on your bench is amazing. But yeah, Gus Edwards, man, I can't give him enough flowers. Absolutely love him to pieces.
Yeah. I mean, Gus, he's one of those guys where you could kind of make an argument that like he's been our best running back in the past couple of years. I mean, he just kind of is by default, I guess you could say, but just what the guy brings to the table, there's just the north-south style of running. Like when you need those 3 yards on a play, like he's gonna pick that up, like you saw. But I also want to give a shout out to the offensive line just as a
Yeah.
whole, and I know you said it was like makeshift, but like they made shit work yesterday. They really did. And I want to give a big shout out to Kevin Zeitler as well.
Mm.
There were a couple key plays in that game yesterday where I saw Kevin Zeitler make some clutch blocks. First of all, the one the touchdown run, the Gus touchdown run, the one in the first quarter. You had Kevin Zeitler pulling from the right guard spot, obviously, and just kind of getting that kick out block. That was just amazing to see. And he also did it again later in the game as well for another clutch run. It might have been on that final run play, the one that kind of like sealed the, yeah, with Gus. That, man, that offensive line really, really showed out. Now, another thing that I wanted to point out as well, the receiving core. The receiving core just is coming together. You know, it's not all the way there yet,
Yeah.
but you can see it's coming together. And like we are on, you can see the trajectory that this offense is on. You know, by week 4, 5, 6, granted, everybody stays healthy. Let's knock on wood for that, right? But granted, everybody still stays healthy. I think this offense can really, really be explosive, man. And you called it. You called it. Nelson Aguilar. I mean, getting the touchdown and then also having a couple other really good. Yeah. Yeah. Talk about your boy.
Catching him.
Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah, man.
Like
Go ahead. Talk about him.
We're catching them like Aguilar. Like, that's what I remember. I hated the signing at first, but like when you start getting Odell and Bateman and Zay, it's like, okay, well, you have a DoorDash driver right now on Nelson Aguilar, who's won a Super Bowl, who's, you know, granted he has his drops, but drops yesterday, 6 targets and 5 catches. Now that incompletion was not a drop, and the touchdown catch he made was, that wasn't the easiest of catches. Lamar put it in the breadbasket, and Nelly came down with it, had a little celebration afterwards. I hope he found a second home. I hope he found a new home here. I love him already for, you know, the way he stepped up, and that's a veteran receiver. That's what vets do. They step up in those big divisional games. He's playing the NFC East games. Welcome to AFC North. And then I'm going to talk about receivers as well. Odell, he was making tough catches before he went out, and then Zay Flowers, I really can't say enough about him. I don't want to sit here and say he's the best rookie receiver out right now, but it looks like we got ourselves one. That's all I got to say.
No, I mean, I agree. And Raven Ron brings it up here. Aguilar is underrated, and Bateman, well, Mandrew, Zay, and OBJ get all the attention. Yeah, that's literally what it is right there. And I actually saw a lot of like that deep route to Zay Flowers. I think that having a Mark Andrews on the field and him kind of like sucking in a lot of that middle of the field defenders and whatnot, it opens up those deep seam routes. And Zay Flowers was there for it. I mean, that catch was pretty damn amazing, and the throw was nice too. But let me back up a little bit to that Nelson Aguilar touchdown again, because while it was an amazing catch by Aguilar, that throw from Lamar Jackson, it should not go unnoticed. It should not go untalked about. Like, if you go back and watch that play and watch that throw in slow motion, Lamar Jackson did exactly what I said he was going to need to do on our preview episode last Thursday. I said he was going to need to, you know, have less anxiety in the pocket, have more trust in his receivers, right? And anticipate his throws. Lamar Jackson turned that football loose before Nelson Aguilar even had a step on Awuzie. He knew exactly where he was going, where he was going to be, and threw with just such ease, and it was just so effortless. You know, Lamar never really loads up on his throws, so he really kind of, you know, flicks it, but puts it right in the breadbasket, like you said. And that's when I knew right then and there, like, there's no way we lose this game. If the offense is responding like this in this manner, there's just no way we lose. And that was the other thing that I want to give my credit to Todd Monken again, right? Because Todd Monken designed an offense that can respond to adversity, not an offense that sputters in response to adversity, which is what we had for the greater part of the last 2-3 seasons. You know, like every time the Bengals, and like you said, you weren't worried at any point in this game, right? Me neither, because I knew if the Bengals went down and scored, T. Higgins 4-yard touchdown, fine, cool. I know that the Ravens are going to move the ball. Hell, we've been doing it since the very first drive. Like, it was amazing to watch. I think I saw Tanja or Yolanda say in the chat that it was refreshing. It was refreshing to watch that offense perform. And, you know, the defense could have had a better day, right? I mean, the defense had some plays, obviously the Geno Stone pick, but just an all-around team win. I mean, I loved it in and out. I really did. I'm speechless.
Yeah. And I noticed a progression of Lamar passing. I know people, you know, like to bring it up, but he overthrew Zay Flowers on one. But I'm going to say a couple of years ago, he probably would have, you know, underthrown it maybe, or it would have been maybe tipped or picked off. I remember the game against the Titans. He underthrew Miles Boykin, picked off. This one, he was kind of leading Zay to catch and run. I like seeing that. He was putting the ball where only our receivers could get it. Which, hey, if it's not going to get caught, I'd rather be incomplete. And that Mark Andrews target in the end zone where Andrews, there's a picture. It's in Andrews' hand, and he bumped into Odell, and then Odell knocked it out, which sucks. Should have had 3 touchdowns, which it's all good. But yeah, just our offense yesterday, man. I mean,
Yeah,
24-33, 237 yards. That's not going to win you AFC Player of the Week, but it's going to win you games, And
exactly.
then look at it. We ran for 178 yards. I liked the cojones Monken had because he called that same Duvernay like jet sweep play 2 times in the final drive. And the first
Yeah,
time I thought it could have went further, but then the second time, Duvernay got more yards. And then Lamar scrambling on that third down as well, getting the first down. Like that's a difference between a Lamar Jackson at quarterback and then when you're Tyler Huntley there. Tyler Huntley, with all due respect, is not doing that.
yeah.
Yeah, so just having 8 out there, there's a reason why he has one of the highest winning percentages. So that's the offense. I mean, I'm down to talk some defense. I love me some defense. I gotta say now.
One more
Okay.
thing I want to bring up about the offense. So teams love to throw these zero blitz, these all out blitzes at Lamar Jackson. I feel like Todd Monken and Lamar Jackson have come up with the perfect game plan in order to beat that this season. Lamar Jackson's getting the ball out quicker than he ever has in his career. Now he's also getting a lot of these screen passes called from Todd Monken as well. So it's like, oh, you're gonna blitz your cornerback off the edge. Okay, cool. I'm just gonna get it right out to Zay Flowers, and he's gonna make the first guy miss because you guys probably know we're gonna do that. So you're gonna have a guy out there. He's gonna make that guy miss, and he's gonna go for maybe 6, 7, 8 more yards, right? That is something that I've been waiting to see from this offense. We've all been waiting to see for the past couple of years. It's just kind of like a response to our trump card, right? You know what I mean? Like people think the trump card over the Ravens, oh yeah, just blitz Lamar. Remember that Dolphins game a couple years ago when they did it like crazy, and it was on prime time too. It was almost embarrassing because we couldn't stop it. Had no answer for it.
Look at
It's refreshing to know we have answers now. Yeah,
our offense then to now. How much change has happened,
yeah,
and that's a credit for me to Eric DaCosta. I'm gonna give him his flowers right there. The way that the team has changed, the offense has changed. I can't agree with you more. That's a great point you bring up. Yeah, I mean, and actually, one more thing. I want to give a shout out to Morgan Moses as well. Doesn't really get a lot of hype, which I understand, but he's been a very solid signing, considering what we were having at right tackle. For the past couple of years, we had Villanueva there. We kind of had a rotating right tackle at a point. Thank you so much, Morgan, for holding that right tackle spot down. It's nice
yeah.
having some just same lineman out there. I know it was makeshift, but he's been holding it down. Him and Zeitler, that right side, they've been holding it down for the past 2 years. So a big
Yep.
thank you to them.
Yeah, those veteran signings have proven to be just paramount for this offensive
Mhm.
line, to be honest with you. We do have another super chat donation. This one's coming
Yes.
from Darius, the official, dropping the 2 piece in the chat.
Thank you.
Thank you for making it rain here on this episode of the Purple Rain podcast. Says, what's good, Rain Gang? Thoughts on my guy, Zay Flowers? Yeah, I mean, we were just kind of talking about him. He's trending upwards. He didn't have, the amount of targets that he had in week 1. But he did have that big catch. I mean, we're seeing big moments out of Zay Flowers every week. And if this becomes a normal thing, these big catches for, maybe 30 yards or plays where he makes guys miss, eventually those plays are going to turn into touchdowns. And when they turn into touchdowns, I feel like teams are just going to respect him on a whole nother level. He's going to start garnering a lot of national media attention. That's coming. That's on the way. There's already a lot of media pundits out there saying that, hey, like Zay Flowers, he might be the next kid up. I'm still waiting to see it. I've been seeing flashes so far, but I love what I'm seeing from Flowers so far. Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's been 2 games. Zay Flowers has 13 catches for 140 yards. Jordan Addison has 7 catches for 133 yards, 2 touchdowns. JSN has 8 for 47, and Quentin Johnson has 2 for 9. I know Zay doesn't have the touchdowns, but Addison's on an 0-2 team. Zay Flowers is on a 2-0 team.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going
That
to say.
matters.
That's what matters. I am in love with the draft pick so far. The sky's the limit for him. I've seen so much from these 2 games. His hands, and his speed, his moves, his elusiveness, his quickness, everything. Love it. Absolutely
Yeah, I
love it.
mean, and his game and his build really it complements the rest of the receiving core. We have pretty much every archetype of pass catcher you would want on that
Mhm.
offense. Like a smaller, shiftier, speedy guy, Zay Flowers. Um, a veteran savvy Odell Beckham Jr.
Yeah.
Rashad Bateman is the young guy who just kind of has it all, including sneaky size on Rashad Bateman. He's low key pretty tall.
Mhm.
I think it's only a matter of time until he starts getting off. And then you got Mark Andrews, just a big body tight end. Like, come on now.
You said Rashad Bateman, you think it's only a matter of time. I think it's next week. I think the Colts game, he's going to be the Nelson Aguilar of next week. I think he's going to have a
Okay.
touchdown. I think he's going to have 5 or 6 catches. He's just been getting lost in coverage, and he's just looked so silky this year. I don't know what it is. I don't know what he did in the offseason, but just the way he's running, the way he's moving. He had 3 catches for 18 yards, but hey, I think one of them was a chain mover. He just looks that good to me. So it's
Yeah,
going to be
I would.
somebody. We're going to have a receiver each week, I think, step up. It's going to whose week is it this week? That's what
Yeah,
I'm looking at.
yeah. I would like to see Monken try to get Bateman involved just a little bit more because I feel like there's a little bit of X factor in Bateman that we just haven't seen yet this season. We've seen it out of Zay Flowers because he gets the opportunity, the volume's there for him, but it's really not been there for Bateman. Like he's moved the chains a couple times, it's cool, but we've seen Bateman look like a legit wide receiver one, you know, and I definitely want to see that in this offense. And I hope you're right. I hope it is next week against the Colts, 1 p.m. CBS game, another one. Hopefully he can really step up and be the premier guy and the pass catchers in that one. That'd be interesting to see for sure.
Can we talk about how far we've come as an offense? The fact that we're talking about receivers right now and how they deserve more volume because one is getting more than the other.
Yeah,
Like, yeah,
we,
last
we
year would
used to
have been
pray for
like,
times like this.
yeah, honestly, we used to pray. So that was the offense right there. So defense,
Yeah,
I can't say it enough. Please just get a contract extension out and give it to Patrick Queen. I
please.
really cannot stress how much this guy's improved. Like sideline to sideline, it was always the missed tackles, this and that. I saw him making tackles everywhere yesterday. Even when they were in front of him, he's making shoestring tackles, getting in there. I mean, better in coverage, bro.
Yeah,
He's just taking miles, just steps ahead, man. Like, so happy for him. So happy to see him balling out. Him and Roquan doing their thing. Honestly, I thought Patrick Queen had a better game than Roquan yesterday.
yep, he did. I was just gonna say that. Yep.
Okay, I'm glad we're on the same page. I didn't want to think, the purple Kool-Aid, purple glasses, but I thought he had a much better game than Roquan. Just
Yeah.
shutting the run down as well.
Yeah, you got Patrick Queen stopping the run. You got him shooting through the gaps and getting after the quarterback. You got him, stifling guys in coverage. It's just it's beautiful to watch. Like you said, his growth over the years, and just where he's coming from to where he is now. Like that he's a phenomenal player, and I do hope that the Ravens are able to bring him back. And again, sooner rather than later. Sooner rather than later is that would be the preference for sure. But also on the defense, I saw a lot of people on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, saying that the pass rush just wasn't there, and it really wasn't. Only one sack. Jadeveon Clowney had the only sack, which was more of kind of like a coverage sack a little bit. The pocket had completely collapsed on that play. But eh, here's the thing: Burrow was getting the ball out pretty damn quick yesterday, as he normally does, right? As he normally does. I mean, you kind of have to when you aren't playing behind the best offensive line for the majority of your career. But neither here nor there. I think that the pass rush will come around. Odafe Owe did not play the entire game. I think he only played about 13 snaps, so really no impact from him. And then the rest of it was split between Clowney and Ojabo. I thought I thought this was going to be his game. I was thinking maybe 2 sacks. Obviously, he didn't get that. But we got to start seeing a little bit more consistency out of the pass rush. I will say that. Again, Burrow was getting the ball out quick this week. But next week, who's going to be starting at quarterback? I don't know if it's going to be Anthony Richardson.
Yeah.
It might be a little bit of target practice. So we got to get after the quarterback. I mean, I think that's the only hole in our defense besides secondary. Obviously, secondary is just because we've been thin there. But even though they stepped up yesterday, but edge rusher is one. That's one. I look at like a Cowboys with Micah Parsons. The
Oh,
Cowboys defense is so good because they have that game record there. You know what I mean? Like we're still missing that. We're
hey,
still
the
missing that.
Cowboys are just that good. I hate saying it. The Cowboys, I think, right now are the best team in the league. I hate to say it. They look so good. I know, it was the Giants and then the Aaron Rodgers-less Jets, but you got to beat who's in front of you, and they look really good. We'll get in that later. But I can't agree with you more about the edge rusher. it definitely does scare me. And it's funny you bring up sacks because I look at Lamar Jackson. He wasn't sacked once. And I was sitting here talking about the reason we were going to lose is because we had this O-line going against this pretty good Bengals front four. And I am so happy I was wrong. Lamar Jackson was pretty much clean for the most part. Like I said, didn't get sacked. I think Trey Hendrickson had one pressure on Patrick McCarry the whole game.
That's amazing.
You deserve that.
That's amazing, honestly.
Yeah,
But
that is.
but I think a lot of Lamar not getting sacked in that game had to do with his escapability, because you could tell he was a lot more decisive in this game than he was in the first one. Like when it was time to get out of the pocket, he was getting out of the pocket, and he was running, or he was extending the play to throw the ball. So I think that definitely big ups to the offensive line. Can't wait for Tyler Linderbaum and Ronnie Stanley to get back, obviously, but it was very promising to see what we saw out of the backup guys today. Oh, not today, but yesterday.
Yeah, and Rock Ya-Sin, he made one play, but I'll be damned, that was probably one of the biggest plays of the game. On an island, one-on-one, Jamar Chase, on target. He just ripped through it, got the ball out in the end zone. Fantastic play.
That was a highlight reel right there.
Yeah, that was a beautiful, fantastic.
And I'm not just saying, I promise you, we're not just saying that because we're Ravens fans. Like anybody watching that one-on-one, like just on an island with a receiver the caliber of Jamar Chase, he catches the ball, right? And you still are able to just jar it out on both of you guys' way down to the ground. Like if Jamar Chase catches that football, might be a totally different ball game. You know what I mean? So Rock Ya-Sin, man, just coming up in the clutch. So that's clutch plays from Rock Ya-Sin, Geno Stone, and who else?
Jadeveon, I thought was causing havoc. He had 2 QB hits I see right there, a PD, a sack.
Let's give some slight flowers to Kyle Hamilton too. Kyle Hamilton as well. I mean, because there was one play, I think it was like a busted coverage. I think it was like Irv Smith or somebody who caught the ball.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, if had it not been for Kyle Hamilton, that would have been 6. Okay, and you didn't even really get to see it on the broadcast angle, but when you see like the all 22 of that play, Kyle Hamilton definitely saved the day. Nobody's really talking about it all that much, but we're gonna talk about it here on this podcast. Shout out to Kyle Hamilton.
Yeah, that was a fantastic play. I think we came with the cover 0, and if he doesn't, like you said, if he doesn't trip him up, it's a long touchdown for them, and that changes the whole dynamic of the game. So like JD says, shoestring tackle indeed. I think Ron Darby played solid. I mean, most of our secondary played well. I mean, only Stevens, but when you get put out there with T. Higgins, there's a reason why they can't pay him, because he is that good. He'll be going somewhere else, and they cannot afford him. So I wasn't really that upset over it, because I know if Marlon was out there, it wouldn't be the same. But we beat them without Marlon, without Ronnie, without Linderbaum, without Marcus Williams. And I was thinking about how much money our inactive list was yesterday.
Ooh,
Ronnie Stanley, 100 mil. Marlon, high 90s. Marcus Williams, 70. So we're looking at about 250, 60 million worth of contracts right now. And then Linderbaum, we know he's going to get paid. That's a first-round pick right there. Like, so.
The fact that we were able to get that win yesterday, just being so banged up, and the Bengals just being relatively healthy, that was on the road as well. That's a big one. That's a big one. But you know what? Not a whole lot of like national media is talking about the Ravens today. I realized that.
Good.
Which is good. I'm not gonna lie. I like for national media to give the Ravens their flowers when they're deserved. But at the same time, I do like flying under the radar. There's benefits to both. But listen, Alex, we're going to go ahead and get into the topic on the title. Excuse me. Are the Ravens the best team in the AFC?
I think right now, once again, we're 2 weeks in, I think you have to say yes. I do. I mean, you got to look at, they've held the Texans to 3 field goals. They just held the Bengals to 17 offensive points. Like you said, a relatively healthy Bengals team. Right now, week 2, I think they're the best team. I'm not saying they're going to be
Well,
the best team at the end of the season, but yeah, right now.
yeah, and I can say like just all around like this team, and it comes to a head with Lamar Jackson because again you have that X factor at quarterback, which we've been seeing as well. Now, when you look at the rest of the AFC as it stands at the moment, Dolphins are also 2-0. How do you think we stack up against the Miami Dolphins?
The Dolphins that played last night, I don't know what that was. Maybe that's just a divisional game, but I don't know if I would love our chances. I'd like them because Tyreek and Waddle. I mean, Waddle's in the concussion protocol right now, but I
Oh, is
just
he? Yeah.
have nightmares, of last year. But even our defense yesterday, I feel like if it was our team last year, like if that was last year's team playing yesterday, we would have capitulated. I think we would have lost that game. I felt like there was just a different vibe, a different mood, and that's why I said I wasn't worried at all throughout the game. Like even when they scored to go 27-24, I'm like, all right, like you said, offense is going to sit there and control the game. And maybe if this
Yeah.
offense was playing last year against the Dolphins, maybe they control more of that fourth quarter, and maybe we don't blow a 28-point lead. But I would like our chances against the Dolphins. I think Marlon will be back soon. So yeah, I do like our chances against them.
Yeah, I think it'll be a hell of a game. I think it'll be a hell of a
Mm-hmm.
game. That's the type of game where we would have to score at least 35 to win,
Oh
I
yeah,
think. Yeah, it would be one of those, and I would like to see it, of course, but I could definitely see it happening. I'm on your side with this one.
we get
I
them
could see us beating
like week
Miami
16, I think.
week 16.
I think we play them later in the season at the bank.
Oh shit. Okay,
Yeah,
forgot about that one. But
so
look,
we'll see it.
yeah, I mean, I like our chances against the Dolphins. I also like our chances against the Chiefs. I like our chances against the Chargers, the
The 0-2
Jaguars.
Chargers. I'm tired of the chart. I'm tired. I saw it again. I saw if Herbert had Waddle and Hill, he'd be putting a 50. I don't care who he has and who he doesn't have. He doesn't have them. He lost to Ryan Tannehill. I don't care. I'm done. I'm tired of the Chargers hype. I'm fucking tired of it. I'm sorry. It frustrates the hell out of me.
Yeah, man. I just keep thinking back to the people who were telling me 3 weeks ago that the Chargers were a better football team than the Ravens. And they were dying on that hill. They're dead now, but it's hilarious to think about that. But yeah, no, I definitely think that the Ravens stand more than a good shot against any other team in the AFC, really in the NFL. I mean, there's some scary teams in the NFC right now. I'm not gonna lie. Not gonna lie. Cowboys, 49ers are really good. They look really nice. But yeah, nobody in the AFC really, really moves me besides the Dolphins, just because they have that equalizer, man. Tyreek Hill, I don't care what anybody says. We've seen it time and time again. And if Jalen Waddle is healthy, Tua has no problem letting it rip. No problem at all. So it's inevitable with those two. Like you're going to get hit over the head at some point. Mike McDaniel, I think he's actually an underrated coach. I don't think people give him enough credit for what he's done with the Dolphins in the past couple of seasons, especially on offense. They look really good. They look really good. The offensive line in the trenches, they're actually not bad either. So I really like what the Dolphins have going on. And it would be a close one with Baltimore, but I could definitely see us pulling it out. I can't wait for that week 16 matchup. But
Can
in
you
short,
imagine
yes.
our
Eh,
receivers now against their DBs compared to last year? Because it was just Bateman and Duvernay and
Yeah.
Demarcus Robinson against their DBs. It's a whole different
Mm.
receiving core now.
Yeah. Yeah. When you throw Zay Flowers in there, I mean, Zay Flowers is such like that's just throwing such a wrench in like the game plans for like for the defense going up against them, because there's so much more that you have to cover on the field. And you remember back when we first got Todd Monken, and he said he wants to make defenses cover every inch of the field. You can see that. You can see that that's what's going on. This deep up the sideline and Nelson Aguilar for a touchdown, deep up the seam to Zay Flowers, across the middle for Mark Andrews, in the flats to Zay Flowers. You know what I mean? Like it's everywhere. It's
Yeah,
everywhere. Like, so love what I'm seeing. And yes, we do think that the Ravens are the best team in the AFC
right now. Right now.
right
Because at
now.
the end, I'm still predicting at the end of the season, the AFC Championship is going to be an Arrowhead. All right. I'm not going to sit here and I've been watching this game too long. I've seen what's happened the past 5 years. Mahomes just got that new contract. They're definitely going to trade for a receiver. I feel like that's why they gave him this new contract, freed up money. Yeah. So, but yeah, right now, week 2, I think we are the best team in the AFC.
Sandra Bowman says Lamar scored 35 points last season against the Dolphins. The defense lost us that game. We had Jalen Armour Davis and Kyle Hamilton back there. They were both rookies at the time. Peters and Humphrey were out of the game.
Yeah, and we didn't have this guy called Roquan Smith either.
Nope, sure didn't.
Yep, top 2 linebacker in the league.
Yeah. And then with the way Patrick Queen is playing now too, alongside him, yeah, it's just, man, I want to see the Ravens with their backs up against the wall, man. I want to see it. You know what I mean? Like when we play, like, I don't even know, maybe when we play the Steelers or something like that. I feel like the Steelers will be a tough out for us, right?
Yeah, or the Browns.
I want to see something spectacular out of this offense, man, because we know that there's so much more in store. Like there's so much more we haven't seen yet, right? That's the exciting part. We've already seen flashes, but we have not seen the entire hand that Todd Monken is holding right now. So it's going to be great. Tasha Bowman says, I want to see this Browns game tonight. They've been bragging like they're Super Bowl favorites. The Browns really think they've arrived. Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see them. Yeah, Steelers, they're playing pissed off, losing to the Niners. Maybe it's a great transition to talk about what happened this weekend, the game tonight. Wouldn't hate it.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and get into that, kind of going around the league. Alex, go ahead and give us some of the things that you took away from yesterday's Sunday games.
My Lions, they lost. Yes, and I was very high on them, too. Jared Goff, pick 6, real close one. I was expecting to come out with that. I feel like they still have a lot of work to do defensively. Emmanuel Mosley wasn't playing. But, when you have this hype, you got to live up to it, unfortunately, Detroit. I know you're not used to the hype. I mean, you got to win more than, 5 or 6 games now. So I'm looking at them to bounce back. Other games, though, like I said, the Chargers, man. I am so tired of the Chargers. Herbert. They lost. 0-2
and he gets every excuse now. It's like, oh, it's the defense. Oh, it's Staley.
Right.
Oh, wins aren't a quarterback stat. It's like all the good quarterbacks, they win. Like I'm not seeing the wins from Justin Herbert like he should be getting. Like I'm not seeing it. But I can't. Again, I'm not gonna sit here and shit on Justin Herbert like he's a terrible player or anything like that. Because at the end of the day, he's putting up numbers. He is balling, right? It's just fantastic. When the going gets tough and you need your quarterback to close you a game. If you know your defense is not capable of doing it, you need your quarterback to do it, right? And it's just we haven't seen it back-to-back weeks. He's had a chance to close the game, just never happened, right?
Yeah.
So, don't know about that. For me, another game I was looking at, Commanders and Broncos. That was a good one. So Commanders are my second favorite team. Grew up in Maryland, so that's why. But I loved what I saw from Sam Howell in the second half of that game. I'll just say this. That touchdown pass to Terry McLaurin, everybody's talking about the catch, but nobody's really talking about the throw. I mean, this man Sam Howell dropped back and put that ball 45 yards into the end zone and threw it on a rope. Like it was amazing to watch. It was amazing to watch and kind of put it right up there, kind of put it a little bit high so Terry McLaurin can kind of go up and high point it and come down with it. It was just perfect. I love seeing that from, Sam Howell in basically his first year starting for Washington. I think that the Washington Commanders have something good going on.
Yeah, I think Terry McLaurin is criminally underrated. So I don't know how you can underrate him. He's probably one of my favorite receivers out there. Like I guess because he's not like the flashy guy, a Tyreek Hill that has like a chain with his name on it. I mean, he may have a chain. I'm not too sure, but I haven't seen it. He goes in there. He does his job for 60 minutes at a very high level and leaves. Terry McLaurin is an absolute star receiver. And talking about the Commanders as well, getting Chase Young back, him and Montez Sweat looking like they looked in 2020.
They look good.
Yeah, very good. I know they gave that. That was just so Commanders of them to give up the Hail Mary, and they stop him on the 2-point conversion, just scaring their fans. But Russell Wilson looked really good that first half. I don't know what happened. The Broncos looked like an actual football team, and then they just fell apart.
Yeah, the Broncos, it must be weird being a Broncos fan right now. Like, just knowing all of the, first of all, the media attention that they're going to get because of Russell Wilson, Sean Payton, but just the fact that they're not producing on the level that people are expecting them to, and kind of that the credibility of Russell Wilson kind of gets lower and lower and lower. And I know you say he played well in the first half, but yeah, we're just not really seeing that X factor out of Russell Wilson and him closing out games and kind of being that guy. But maybe they turn around this season. I just don't know with them. It's tough in that division, so it's gonna be interesting to see for sure.
Yeah. And
Yeah, go ahead.
that division as well. The Chiefs, I did pick them to lose. I learned not to go against the Chiefs. Apparently, I'm 0-2 with them this year. They did beat the Jags 17-9 in kind of a weird, ugly game. I want to say. Uh,
Yeah,
Kadarius Toney, kind of maybe had a bounce back game. Travis Kelce obviously had a touchdown. Chris Jones was back. Uh, the Chiefs needed that just off the field drama to go away, and they did. The whole Chris Jones saga is over at least for a year. But yeah, I mean that's a big win for them going to Jacksonville, a team that I know me and you both think are going to be in the playoffs and are a contender.
yeah,
That
yeah,
was a good win for them.
yeah. That was definitely a good game too. Let me see here. Let's go ahead and get some
Yeah,
questions
get the
in the
questions
chat.
in.
Get the questions going on. I see the Don here asked if we are doing the questions.
Oh, we
Yes,
are.
we are. So yeah, go ahead and make sure you drop your questions down in the live chat. If you're not watching live, you're part of the hashtag replay gang. Drop your comments, questions, concerns, whatever you got. Drop it down below in the comment section. We'd appreciate
And
it.
can we get 35 likes, please? We're at 27. Get them likes up for me.
Yeah,
And,
like the
and as for
video. Like the video.
talking, yeah, about more games, the Niners are just they're good. The whole field goal thing at the end though is kind of catching my eye. There was 4 seconds left, 30-20. Sean McVay kicks a field goal. Mr. Son, do you know what the spread was for that game?
What?
7.5.
Think the call came in?
I don't know, but like LeBron tweet said, there's something real fishy going on. I'm not saying, like, because like I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to kick the field goal and then go for the
Right.
onside kick and have a chance for the Hail Mary, but there wasn't enough time left, so that was really really weird. Maybe just they want to put short points on the board. That just was something to keep your eye on, I guess.
Yeah, it's definitely something something weird.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Let me see. I think we have some questions here. This one's coming from
Okay.
Lisa. Says, how do we expand on winning? I think this is a great question.
Yeah.
I think it's a
Yeah.
great question. Me personally, I think that the Ravens they can win more games if the pass rush steps up. Obviously the secondary has been beat up. We're still waiting on Marcus Williams. We're still waiting on Marlon Humphrey to come back. So somebody in that pass rush, and maybe it's a Jadeveon Clowney. He's been playing well so far this season, but somebody needs to step up and really start putting more sacks on the board, getting these quarterbacks on the ground. I think that that's going to be important. It's going to help out our secondary a ton, and which will bode well for our defense, giving our offense shorter fields, things like that. So yeah, that's what it's going to be for me. Pass rush.
And cause them more turnovers. I'm right there with you with the pass rush. Get in their face,
Yeah,
make them throw errant throws, force some fumbles, get us some real good field position, and you'll just see those 27 points turn to 34, maybe 41, 42. Get some high scoring games out of this offense.
that's a great point. That's a great point. Yeah. Let me see. Chike says, who wins next week, the Patriots or the Jets? I'm gonna go Patriots in that one.
This is a must win for the Patriots. There's a lot of frustration I feel boiling. Mac Jones, Bill Belichick. Yeah, I think the Patriots win that because they have to. You really have to because the Jets did not look like themselves at all. Obviously, with no Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, give me the Patriots
Yeah.
in the thriller.
The Patriots, they actually don't look terrible.
Mm-mm.
Their defense is pretty good. The offense can be efficient at times. Mac Jones is not horrible. He just doesn't have any X factor to him, really. But yeah, I take the Patriots in that one. The Jets kind of seem like they're starting to unravel a little bit. Kind of got embarrassed by the Cowboys. Zach Wilson 3 picks. Micah Parsons all over the place. Obviously, like you said, the Cowboys are just really good. But we got guys like Sauce Gardner getting on Twitter saying like, "Oh, CD Lamb didn't have those catches on me though." It's like that's kind of weird to me. That's kind of corny.
Brees Hall,
That's to
4
me.
carries. You have your running back who's averaging 9.5 yards a carry, getting 4 carries, and then he's talking on
Yeah,
Twitter.
I
Not
had
a
him on
good look.
fantasy too. Come on
Hey,
now.
it's almost like there's a Hard Knocks curse.
Yeah, I mean, like, what's going on? What's going on?
Yeah,
Hayden says, "Will the Ravens rest OBJ next week?"
definitely something I'm
I
gonna
think
keep
they
my eye
should.
on. Yeah, I
Yeah,
feel like that's why you got it, Aguilar. You have Bateman, Zay, Aguilar, Duve, Wallace. It's not
yeah.
gonna sit there and put up 50 points, but it can definitely win you games, especially with this running game and then with Andrews as well. I wouldn't be surprised if they do rest him.
I saw somebody on Twitter say that they should put Odell in bubble wrap and just take him out in January. That's like Jesus.
Yeah. And
Let's
something
see.
about just
Yeah.
I know Jameson Hensley asked it to Odell's face, which I obviously would never, but the past times he's played the Bengals, it's been severe I words. So I'm just happy we played them one more time, and yeah, hopefully that game doesn't mean anything, but it probably will.
Yeah, definitely wasn't too happy about Jameson Hensley. Even just putting that out in the air, it's just like, why do you even have to say that to a guy to his face? You know what I mean?
I didn't even think about that until he said it, and I'm like, why would you ask him that? Something's like how much impact he had to take a whole year off with it. He couldn't even play, so how much that meant to him and how the touchy subject is.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not a productive question at all.
Yeah. What do you gain from it?
Exactly. All right, let's see. J Prime 235 in the house says, did anybody see Burrow limping yesterday? Very curious to see how much that affects him. Yeah, I mean, I heard that, that calf was not ready to go. He probably shouldn't have played last week nor this week. But the Bengals are kind of desperate, Didn't want to start off this season like they started off last season, 0-2, but here they are, and their quarterback is still hurt. So it's just the Bengals are in kind of a weird spot. 0-2 in the division too. Let's mention that, because that really hurts. That really hurts, especially when it comes playoff time, seeding, all that stuff. So yeah, did you see the play bro got hurt on?
Yeah, I saw his status was in doubt for Monday when they play the Rams.
Yeah. See.
Something to keep your eye on.
Let's see. We'll take a couple more questions.
On the game tonight as well.
Yes. Sports Gaming YouTube says, I saw somewhere that Zay Flowers could end up as the best Ravens wide receiver that we've ever had. What do you guys think?
Maybe drafted.
A lot.
You got to think of Anquan, Steve Smith, Derek Mason.
Yeah.
Definitely drafted. I think he can be better than Torrey Smith. But I mean, it's been 2 games. I need to pump the brakes. But deep ball guy. And one thing too about these Ravens, that's now 3 penalties. I know it's not Zay, but Odell has got 3 penalties, on these DBs going against him already. Think about we weren't used to the holdings, the PIs, just small stuff like that. I know Zay's going to get a deep PI call. He's going to get us like 50 yards because they're down there, mugging him because he's wide open and trying to pull him back. But even that too, like stuff that doesn't show up on the stat sheet, I think that can make him a very good receiver for us.
Yeah, I mean, I think you bring up a good point with maybe he might be the best drafted of all time. Certainly not the best Ravens wide receiver. I mean, anything's possible, right? But no, I think that the way that we use Zay Flowers and the offense that he's in, he would have to have some really, really big games to get in that conversation, like some huge games. I'm talking like some 2-3 touchdown games, like that sort of thing, But yeah, definitely a good point to bring up. We'll take some more questions here from you guys. What's going on, Brandon? Appreciate you for coming through. Says, do you think Zay Flowers is going to get his first touchdown next week? I thought it was going to be yesterday. Next week against the Colts. I mean, good opportunity, right?
Very good opportunity at the bank. I know rain is forecasted though. So if there is rain, I think it's more of a running game. But if it's clear, I wouldn't hate that at all. Although I have Bateman getting a touchdown against the Colts too. So maybe they both get one. Spread the love.
Yeah, I like a Bateman touchdown next week. It's time. It's time. Let's get Bateman involved, guys. He was a first-round pick too. Darius, the official, says, what do you guys think about Rodgers trying to come back in 4 months after getting hurt? I didn't hear about that story, but if it's true, then I don't like it because he is 40 years old, and that is not the type of I word that you're just going to bounce right back from, especially not at that age. So 4 months is no, like you're not getting back for playoffs. It's not happening. It's just no, give it a rest.
He must be back in January for the playoffs. What do you assume they're going to make the playoffs? Very bold of you.
Very bold. Yeah.
That's my main reason why I'm not a big Aaron Rodgers guy, because like he thinks he's so much smarter than everybody else. And like even with the whole like the vaccination stuff, I remember he said some like wild stuff. I'm like, bro, like just pipe down a little bit. Yeah, like you said, an Achilles is nothing to play with. It's not like you have like a broken finger. You know, like
Right.
there's guys who have played through. I remember Jared Goff was playing through a broken finger in the playoffs. Bro, you tore your Achilles. 4 months. So come on back and play at MetLife again if you have a game there, and see what happens. It's like you got hurt because your line couldn't even hold their blocks. You want to come back and play behind that same line, even maybe more banged up, bro.
Right.
He definitely wasn't sober when he was thinking about
that. He was off the ayahuasca. Had to be.
he was off the
Okay.
Himalayan salt lamp. I don't.
Let's go ahead and touch on these games that are coming on tonight. 2 Monday night games, doubleheader. So we got the Saints and the Panthers.
Yes.
That should be an interesting one. And then after, we've got our old buddies, our old AFC North buddies. We got the Steelers taking on the Browns, which will be amazing for a lot of us AFC North fans because this is our first chance and opportunity to fully watch, the Steelers and the Browns and see what they got this year. That's what I'm excited for, truly.
Yeah.
That game kicks off at 8:15. Can't wait for that one. But who do you got winning the Saints and Panthers game?
Saints. Who dat? I shouldn't say that because like I lean towards the Buccaneers more than the Saints with their whole rivalry, but the Saints to me, like it's their division to lose. Although the Bucs are 2-0 with Baker Mayfield, I feel like the Saints with Derek Carr, they have the better quarterback. They have a more experienced quarterback. Their receivers are real good. I love their defense. Give me the Saints in this one. I feel like it's a must win. Obviously, it's division, but yeah. You got to make a statement on prime time right now.
Yeah, I was definitely going Saints in this one too. The only reservation I had, Carolina is at home. I feel like they're going to try to get behind Bryce Young. Maybe it's like one of those games where the rookie kind of does his thing, but no, I think that the Saints, Bryce Young is still kind of in a developmental stage with the Panthers right now, whereas the Saints are kind of a little bit more refined, a little bit more mature, right? Like they have more of the pieces around to actually win games right now. So yeah, I'm going to go with the Saints in this one too.
Yeah, Olave, Michael Thomas, and Rashid Shaheed, who actually balled out last week too. So
yeah.
Love
Chris Olave, by the way. Let me see. So, and then the Browns at Steelers. Which will be, like I said, again, just a dream come true for AFC North fans. Monday Night Football, just love to see it. Ravens already won, just love to see it. But for me in this one, I'm going to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is going to be one of those gritty, tough AFC North matchups. If you're a betting man, I'd say take the under in this one. What is the line at? 38.5. 38.5. That's a good line. It's a tough one. But
I'm about to make it a little alternate line at that point.
Yeah.
That's a little too.
That's a little too low.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. All it takes is one like defensive touchdown to really throw that out of whack,
Right. Well, I'm with you with the Steelers. I see Boz in here. We're gonna have to. So when you're watching today, let's watch the Steelers offense because that's a Matt Canada masterclass. All right.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's see what he does because I am about to gouge my eyes out because I in my true deep down in my heart, when people said that they hated Roman, and I understand that you dislike them, but just remember it could always be worse, and that worse is Matthew Canada. I promise you. Like you are gonna see tonight, they're gonna have these jet sweeps that are gonna do nothing. There's no Deontay Johnson. Let's see what A-Rob and Pickens do, but yeah. I'm worried for them.
You're getting me so hyped for this game, man. Like you don't even understand. Like at this point, I feel like it's gonna be like better than watching like a comedy show, like a stand-up comedy or something like that.
You have a terrorist on one side and a prisoner on the other. Like, what are we watching,
bro? This is gonna be good. It's gonna be good. I haven't even watched Deshaun Watson play a full 4 quarters of football since he's been back either. So it'll be interesting to see what he puts on tape tonight. But yeah, overall, taking the Steelers, I think they bounced back from last week's L. I think this is going to be a big game for one TJ Watt. Look out for TJ Watt. I'm expecting some big plays out of him. But yeah, overall, got the Steelers winning that one. Both teams go to 1-1, and the Ravens still atop the division. Love it.
Yeah.
Love it, right?
Oh, yeah. And also, before we leave, how could I be so cruel? The Orioles clinched a playoff spot, so they will be in the playoffs this year. Still have a chance to win their division, which I really hope they do. but it's the first time since 2016 that they have, made the playoffs. They were a 100 loss team a couple years ago. Fans weren't going to games. It was really, really bad. And to see this turnaround is, it warms my soul. I'll tell you that, it warms my soul. We have O's doing well, Ravens doing well. Hey, and the Terps are 3-0 in football as well. So DMV sports are doing pretty good. The Commanders are 2-0.
Commanders are 2-0. They are 2-0. That's my squad. But you know what's crazy? I'm going to an Orioles game. I'm going.
When are you going?
So Red Sox at Orioles, September 29th.
Friday,
We'll
right?
be at that one. Yeah, it's a Friday. Okay. Yeah.
Hopefully
I'm gonna pull up to Camden Yards. Yeah. Hopefully to see some of you guys there. What'd you say? My bad.
That's gonna be a good game to go to. Hopefully they could win the division that game. Honestly, when you're getting to late September, they could be winning the division around that. So could see a good one.
Yeah, I'm excited. But okay, let's. Boss says me and Simply pull up. Hey.
Let's talk about that.
Let's talk about it. All right. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and leave it there for this episode of the Purple Rain Podcast, episode 193. Again, thank you guys so much for coming out to this episode. If you made it all the way to the finish line, you are truly our favorites. And if you're part of the hashtag replay gang, you are our favorites as well. Like we mentioned at the top of the show, you can follow us on Instagram at the Purple Rain Podcast, like you see down below. You can follow this guy over here on Twitter at SimplyAS10, on Instagram at simplyas10.prod, TikTok simplyas10 as well. TikTok is back rolling. The season is here again. The mic'd ups are coming out, so make sure you get on simplyas10's TikTok. Love it. And then you can follow me on Twitter or Instagram at Sutton Def, like you see there. And like we led the show with, Manscaped. You can go on manscaped.com. Get yourself, get your loved one, anybody you know, some Manscaped. Save yourself 20% off with our code PRP, and you get free international shipping.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Yeah. It's on us. All right. With that being said, I'm going to let my guy Alex take us out.
Thank you for coming through. Episode 193 of the Purple Rain Podcast. A fantastic weekend. Ravens winning, like I said, the O's clinching. Hell, even my soccer team won. Great weekend all around for sports. Dubs all around. Eating W's. We'll see. Up next, we have the Colts. Let's go to 3-0. But, hey, you're only as good as your next game. So, thank you all for coming through. And as always, stay positive. Test negative.
And never, ever, ever forget, even on the rainiest of days, to call God.